Ivana, Katz, welcome back to the web design series. How are you?
I'm really well, Mark. I feel like I should be hosting this by now. I feel like
Here you go. I'll pass it all over. It's all yours. No, I'm having too much fun. I'm not going to remove myself from my seat here. I'm loving this series and doing this with you. And all the little tidbits that I find out about you as well. You were just telling me off air how a fantastic volleyball player you were a number of years ago.
well, I wouldn't say fantastic. I did play in the under-19s for New South Wales. I was short, so it was never going to be a career, but it was fun with friends, and we got to travel a little bit and stuff. And then, the injury came, and that was the end.
A lot of careers have been cut short by an injury. What injury did you have? May we ask?
Cruciate
Oh,
ligament, torn cruciate ligament.
Oh,
And you know what? The funny thing is, back then, the operations involving in fixing that up was so different to what they are now. A friend of mine who tore her about 2 years before me, she's got a scar going from the top of her leg to the bottom of her leg.
Wow.
I just have a few spots. But then another friend who plays soccer, and he had an injury. He tore his cruciate ligament. It's all done through keyhole surgery, so you can't even see it.
Yeah.
And they get them up and running for within a very short time. I was off for 6 months.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it's a different world these days. It shows a little bit how long ago it was your injury by explaining the rehab process, but that's all okay. I've got to tell you though that people underestimate the height of a volleyball net. It's very high, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that the volleyball net is so high, it's that I was short.
Okay, all good. Volleyball, yeah, great sport indeed. Now, last time you joined us, you were talking about your wonderful experience at the day spa. Has there been any other luxuries in the last week?
Oh, yeah. I got to tell you this story. So my dad and my mum, they've watched the videos. So, you're talking about 4,000 people downloading or whatever. Well, mum and dad are two of them. And my dad, who I think I've mentioned before, he's an engineer. He's not very observant when it comes to things. But he said something to mum and she related to me. And he's like, what's up with her makeup?
Oh.
And I went, what? And so I watched the video. I'm like, okay, I think I can see what my makeup looked like before. And I thought maybe I need to kind of revisit, because I have not upgraded my makeup since about 1825. So last week I decided, and I'm all about learning new things. I don't pretend to know everything. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and have a makeup lesson. And so I toddled off into the city at the Sheraton and met up with this wonderful lady, and she gave me a few pointers on the tips. So Dad, if you're watching, if you said
Hang on,
But it was actually a lot of fun. It was like I learned, and the lady said to me, she's like, yeah, you stuck in the 80s. So I'm like, geez, ouch.
There we are. Well, I've just put this little segment on full screen so your father can have a good look and to make sure that you're meeting his expectations. Now, the way that this show is starting to unfold, Ivana, we're going to be able to turn it into a travel and beauty show soon, because we've been talking about everything from Hawaii to day spas and now to makeup sessions. So I'm just holding out for what's going to come up next week.
Oh, you never know. But you haven't shared any stories for a while. What have you been up to? What have you been learning?
Well, I've been learning some new things about the boat, because there's going to be a time come soon where Oscar and I and the crew are going to be taking off and setting out into the big blue. So there's been a lot of behind the scenes boat work going on in preparation for that, to make sure that everything is secure, let's say that way, because you don't want to be out there being bashed around. And one of the things that I'm doing, I'm getting rid of gas off the boat. I don't like gas being on the boat, and I'm going fully electric. So I'm into looking at infusion ovens and all those things at the moment, Ivana.
Infusion ovens? I've never heard of that. What is that?
Yeah, infusion oven. It's a well, it's not. I won't say it's new technology, because it's been around for a long time, but it's a different form of electric technology. And you've got to have, unfortunately, you've got to go and purchase a whole range of specific potware and all that to be able to use on these infusion stoves. So there's a lot of research that needs to be done. So that's what I'm up to at the moment.
And so when are we setting off into the big blue?
Oh, stay tuned for that. There'll be more news on that at a later date.
Okay. All right. So at the moment, it's just behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah. Just making sure. Got Oscar down in the bottom of the lockers, cleaning everything out and making sure everything's in order. And I've been standing up above him, just yelling out directions. So.
Oh, he is your best employee. I hope he gets recognised.
First mate. He's the first mate on the boat. Yes, indeed. Okay, let's get on to talking about websites. And last time, in our last episode, which was episode 7, we talked about what, Ivana?
We talked about, well, in episode 6 and 7, we covered the most important pages to include on your website and also other pages to include. Especially if you're starting out, just start with the key pages and then add the extras as time allows or as you have the information available. So.
And we talked about my favourite one, which is including links, making sure that you've got links to collaborative partners that you might be working with, and just seeing how you can expand your business through those associations, which I think is really important.
And through partnerships, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And today we're going to be talking about the planning, the design and content of your services pages. And as we do every week on the show, we do a review of somebody's website before we get into the main topic. And today we're going to be reviewing Mr. Mike Sutton's website. Mike was a guest on my show recently and really interesting guy. He co-owns a basketball team. I don't know too many people that own a basketball team in the world, but Mike does. And he's a serial entrepreneur, so I'm really interested to see what you thought of his website, Ivana.
So this is the Miyagi.
This is Miyagi.live, yeah.
Oh, goodness, the pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
Okay, so that explains a lot. So first of all, what I wanted to say, the really good thing that he's done is he has a scene in and he's got on today's sunrise. And that goes a long way to the credibility of the website and the business. He also has search capability on the website, which means you can find a lot of things really easily just by entering information in. And he's got a lot of videos on the website. So those are really, really good things. My suggestions for improvement is I'm not really sure what the website is about. And I seem to be having this problem a lot with the websites we're reviewing. I wasn't sure, is this website competing with Vimeo and YouTube, or is it meant to be like a free course website or paid website? It seems to be wanting to be everything to everybody. So I couldn't I couldn't figure out as a website designer or as a mum, am I going to find information on the website? So to me, it's not niche. It seems very broad. And I did make a note. He actually has something a little bit further down on the website. And let me just read that. So when I scroll down the page, it tells me register now and turn your knowledge into income. And I'm like, that's brilliant. But it was way down the page and I would have long clicked away because when I arrived there and it says search this and I'm like, well, what am I searching for? I wasn't sure. So I think having that at the top, and then I go, okay, well, I'm a business owner, so I can turn my knowledge into income. So that was really good. So I'd say move that up and make that your tagline. And the other thing that he also says, again, further down the page, it says, we believe that people all over the world are searching for the talent you possess. You have the power within to change your life and lives of others. Brilliant. I love that. Again, move it up and just so that as soon as people arrive at your website, they know what it is that you do and what your website is about. One thing that I found a little bit further down, it was he's got like tag clouds, which shows the different categories he covers. And I found it really confusing. So I would divide up the categories into things that make sense. So for example, if you've got a cooking category and then break that down maybe by the different countries, if you've got an IT category, break that down into small things, but just have main headings. At the moment, everything seemed to be mixed together. And so this is why I got lost and I didn't know what it was, like where I would go from there and what I would actually be looking for.
Really good point.
And the final thing that I found was that he uses a lot of free stock images, and those images are from, I recognize them because I see them on a lot of websites, from the free image banks that we talked about, like Unsplash and things like that. And I'm sure he's got lots of his own photos that he could put up there, and that would go a long way to the credibility and to making a lot more sense.
Okay, excellent feedback. And I want to reiterate what you're saying, because every week you are saying the same things in and out about what people are missing in terms of some of those key points. And what I've picked up and what you've been saying the last few weeks is that people have a lot of this information on their website. It's just in the wrong place. They haven't got it in a prominent place where you come across it straight away. Is that fair to say?
That's absolutely right, because and that's what we said. We are so close to the business. We know what we're doing. Our staff knows what we're doing, but the person who arrives on the website, they have no clue, and so you've got to grab them really quickly. So I have a tagline, which, and again, it's been in the process for a long time, and my tagline is, I build websites that build your business. And so that tells you that I don't sell shoes or socks or, do makeup. It tells you, and it's benefit driven. So having a tagline that's benefit driven and that tells people straight away what it is that you do will mean that they're more likely to be interested and they will click to the next level.
Had a viewer send in a message to ask a question of you about your vocabulary and definition of a tagline, and they cited the example of the tagline of Nike is "just do it," but that's not telling us what their business is. It's not telling them that they're a clothing apparel company and making sneakers, right? So your definition, as I'm listening to you about a tagline, is actually explaining what your business does versus having some kind of a slogan like "just do it," right?
I guess. I think sometimes taglines, bylines, slogans, it can kind of blend. So for me, it's just letting people know what it is that you do, and so that it's benefit driven. And I take your point. Maybe I need to contact Nike and have a chat to them about their slogan. But I think, for most small businesses where they're just starting out, Nike can get away with it. Yeah. If you not Nike, you probably can't.
Although they did have "just do it" when they launched their business back in the day, because I remember it day one of Nike.
Oh, did they?
They haven't changed it, so it's been.
How long ago was that, Mark?
We're talking 1981, I think they launched. Yeah.
Well, that was before I was even born.
I won't tell you how much I paid for my first pair of Nike shoes, but it's a lot different than what you pay for them today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Exactly. That's another story for another show.
That's another show. Yeah. That's for the global travel channel. No, sports channel.
Now, great feedback from Mike there, and Mike, again, as we say in these episodes every week, as we're putting out there a lot of positiveness about what you are doing well, and just a few tips on where things can be improved through the expert eyes of Ivana. So that's the feedback we've got for you today.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions or you want more clarifications, just don't be afraid to reach out.
Brilliant. Okay, planning the design and content of your service pages. Now, first of all, for those, seeing we're on definition of vocabulary, can we please define what services pages are on a website?
Well, anything that's not a product.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a programs page. So if you have particular programs or courses, so if it's not a physical product, and I think all of this, and look, when we cover products, a lot of the information is going to be very similar. So if you've got a services page, and I think one of the main reasons why I put this together is because I work with a lot of business coaches, life coaches, consultants, and service providers, and I see the mistakes that they make when they are creating their pages. And I've worked with copywriters, and so we've kind of come up with a formula which I think works really well. Obviously tailor it to your business however it applies, and there's so many different possibilities and combinations, because a lot of businesses will have services and they will have, like, it might be like say for example a business coach doing one-on-one coaching, then they might have an online course page, then they might sell products and things like that. So this is specifically for the services provided by you and your staff.
And don't forget, we've talked about plumbers too on the show, haven't we?
Oh, we did, yeah. And this would absolutely apply to the plumber. And I actually did follow this exact formula for one of my plumber clients.
Ah, brilliant.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I tried to walk the talk, not just talk about it, but actually do what I say. So, okay, so the services page would, so the first thing that I would start with the service description. And in the description, you want to cover who is this service for. Are you looking, is it for a specific demographic? And just touch on it, because that way people will go, yes, I fall into this demographic. This is likely to apply to me. What problems does this service solve? You can ask the question, are you experiencing XYZ to lose weight, for example? Then read on. And then also list the benefits and also all the features of your service. Mm-hmm. And we will go into benefits and features a little bit more in our products, because I think that applies really well there. So list the benefits and features of the service that you offer. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that in most instances, people will arrive at your website via your homepage. But as your business grows and you've got more content on your website, they may start arriving on your website via different pages. So services page, especially if it's a specific, like let's say business coaching for accountants. Say if you offer a service, business coaching for accountants, and you have created that page, you may find, because it's quite long keywords or key phrase, you may start showing up in the search engines a lot higher than your homepage for those particular keywords. So you want to include as much information about that particular service right on the page. So besides the description, which again, it should be short, it should be to the point, because we don't want to be reading too much. Mm-hmm. And if you can include a video, absolutely include a video. The next thing that I would do is answer a frequently asked question or two in regards to that service. Mm-hmm. And I have a client who is a cleaner, a carpet cleaner, or actually he does general cleaning. And so for every page that we've created, for every service that he does, we've created a service page, and we answer questions specifically to that service. Because if I'm looking for a service, I might have questions about that particular thing that I'm looking for. So answer frequently asked questions, include pricing on the page. And we talked about how important it is. Please do include pricing. Even if you can put packages together for your service, or do a per hour basis, or but some indication of how much the service will cost. And you can take it one step further and maybe link to a case study which shows, in my case, it would be something like, well, I've created a website for XYZ cleaning. It costs this much, and this is what they had. So you can link it to that to expand a little bit on that.
So a question I have, Ivana, if we can just go back to what you said a little bit ago, because I'm quite fascinated to understand whether I'm right in interpreting this. You talked about after the business has been going for a while, people will find your website via different means and won't necessarily land on your homepage, right? Mm-hmm. Is that because there's more and more URLs of your other pages getting out there into the public domain, and people might click on a URL that has your services page linked to it rather than your homepage link? Is that what you're talking about?
No, what I'm saying, so when people search on certain keywords or key phrases, mm-hmm. They're looking for a particular service. And so if you were just, maybe if you entered in business coaching, you're not likely to come up very highly in the search engines, because your business is new. Google looks at 200 different elements of a web page before it ranks it. So for people that are searching for business coaching, if you are a new player coming into online, then you're not likely to rank very highly. It'll take a while. But if it is something a lot more niche and a lot more specific, and if your web page includes the specific keywords such as business coaching for accountants, and even more so if it's something like business coaching for accountants in Sydney, you are likely to rank higher because you're going to have those keywords within the title of the page. You will probably also, and we'll cover this more when we talk about search engine optimization, but you are going to use those particular keywords and key phrases on your page. So the chances of you ranking higher are much higher than a homepage that is quite generic and that has got a lot of keywords and key phrases. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So thank you for taking away my completely incorrect view of that perspective. So now I understand.
But the thing is, you know what? One of the things is Google is now looking for good quality content. And so if your page has really good quality content, and generally it's a lot longer content, not just a couple of words. So we're kind of contradicting ourselves. We're saying people don't like to read a lot of information. So, be brief and things like that. But back in the days, people used to produce articles and blog posts that were a couple of hundred words, and they stuffed them with keywords, and Google's just saying, that's rubbish. We don't want to index that. We want to index good quality content. And so now they're looking for posts and articles that are really long, maybe 3,000 words. And so it's getting a lot harder to rank for certain keywords and key phrases. And Google is becoming very smart in that regard. So having solid information and having it targeting a specific niche, it's going to get you ranked possibly higher and faster than if you're trying to be everything to everybody. So that's why I say for your services page, create individual pages for each service that you offer.
Okay, understood. Very good.
Okay.
Let's move on.
So on a particular services page, so let's go with the business coaching. We said include pricing, also include your trust icons. So trust icons would be your testimonials.
Yep.
It would be as seen in or as heard on or as featured in, and then list any websites, newspapers, magazines, or anywhere you've been featured in. Again, for the specific service. If you can get people to talk in their testimonials to talk about that particular service as opposed to generic testimonial about dealing with you. If you don't have them yet, it's okay. But if you can be talking about specifically, Joe Blow did really good job cleaning my carpets. Put that on the carpet cleaning page, not on a general cleaning page. Also case studies.
I wonder if there is a Joe Blow carpet cleaner. That'd be quite an interesting business name.
I'm sure I've done a website for him. So anything that you can do to prove your credibility. So case studies, again, for business coaches is great. Case studies where you outline the problem the customer was having, the process you took them through, and the outcome. So that goes a long way. And you don't need to include the actual case study on this particular page, but have links to it.
So what if you won a Nobel Peace Prize? Where do you put that on your website?
If you what?
If you won a Nobel Peace Prize, where do you put...
Oh, I'd have it on every page.
Because that's one of the things we haven't talked about, though, is awards and certificates that you might have won at a respectable level. That is really important to have those sorts of things on there, right?
Yep, and we've got that coming up in our session when we talk about credibility. So there's going to be a lot more about that.
Okay.
So
good.
I could just keep going, but I'm trying to contain us to specific things.
I understand. Okay.
So trust icons. The next one is a photo gallery. So Again, going back to the carpet cleaners, for example, if you can feature some photos of before and after, what it looked like before you cleaned the sofa and after what the carpet looked like, what if you're a cleaner and you've done a beautiful makeover, or you're a stylist or a designer or interior designer, just featuring photos, real photos on that page, again, related to that specific service.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The next thing, which is really key, is have calls to action throughout the page. And what I mean by calls to action is, think of it this way. When somebody arrives at your website, and let's say they arrived on the services page, what makes sense for the next step? Is it for them to contact you for a quote? In which case you should request a quote and take them to a quoting page.
Mm-hmm.
Or call us to schedule an appointment. So make sure that whenever somebody finishes reading different paragraphs or different sections on your website, they have somewhere else they can go. Because people don't automatically think, oh, maybe I'll go to the contact page and I'll contact them. Just make sure you keep prompting them all along the journey. Take the next step, take the next step, take the next step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would have that. Contact details, again, I would have that in the footer. So we talked about having a contact page, and that's separate. But on every page, I would have the contact details. And the best way, easiest way to do that is to have it in the footer. But you may also have your phone number listed, and especially if it's a long page, have it listed several times. So if somebody's read and maybe they've read the description, they've seen your trust icons, they've seen the photos, and they go, okay, I'm ready to call them, or whatever, the number is there, and they can just press the button and call you.
What's your views on phone numbers? I'm quite interested in this because we've talked in previous episodes about boundaries and having a balance in life when it comes to work. Putting your mobile phone number on a website means people can ring you any time of the day or night. So what do you advise? Do you think an office number is the best way, or having a mobile number, or both?
Yeah, look, I think these days mobile numbers are okay. I'm holding onto my number, which I got back in the dark ages, because it's such a fabulous number. Would you believe it was a number that belonged to Channel 7, and it's 9907 7777. So I'm holding tightly onto that.
Yeah.
I still get people contacting me sometimes asking if they can give me stories. But,
right. You should say yes. You can. Tell me your story. Yeah.
So a few years ago, having a real solid number was, I think, really important. These days, a lot of people are getting rid of landlines, and so mobile numbers are okay to have on the website. And I think, again, when we go to the website, it's about what you can do for your customers and how to make it convenient for them. So I would absolutely include the phone number, because you want people to call you, whether you answer it at 9 o'clock at night or not. That's up to you. But you can have the phone number and then just below it listed when you are available, available from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or click to your About Us page, which has your business hours. So again, we need to make it about and make it easy for the customer. So absolutely put the phone number. And I think what we mentioned last time, if you are putting in a mobile number, at least mention what state and what country you're in. Yeah. Especially if you're offering services internationally. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're a local, and this is where, look, we will bring it back to the domain names, which we talked about before. If your domain name is a .com.au domain name, people will know you're in Australia. If it's .ca, people will know you're in Canada. But a lot of people have global businesses, and especially those that provide services. And we assume that business is based in the US. If it's a .com, we think it's a global and it's based out of US. And then if you've got an Australian number, it just kind of doesn't make the connection. So make it clear the fact that this is an Australian number, so that people in the US are not trying to call you, because if they try to dial an Australian number, they won't be able to get through. So we'd have the problem where, calls are not coming through. So be very clear and just be very mindful that you don't know where people are looking from, and they don't know what the format of our phone number is.
Okay, cool. Okay, contact details.
So the contact details, and the other thing is you may also be interested in. I find that is such a good section to include on your pages, on your service pages, your product pages, on your blog posts. And one company that does that incredibly well is Amazon. You go and buy any products, and also on eBay, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You go and buy any products, and they have a section saying you may also be interested in this particular book, or because they know that if you are looking about if you're looking at how to settle a baby who wants sleep, you may also find other books helpful, and that helps to sell extra services extra products. In the case of services, say you offer you offer the business coaching service, and a client might see that, maybe the pricing is a little bit high and they can't afford you one-on-one. But if they see further down the page that says you may also be interested in, and you have an online course which is quarter of the price of one-on-one, then they're going to click through that and see that you have other services, whereas otherwise they may have just clicked away. So including you may also be interested in, or other people who looked at this were also interested in those.
I like some of those big websites where they say, you and I are friends on Facebook, and I often get things that, Ivana Katz was interested in this, right?
Oh, God. What have I been interested in lately?
I'm getting bombarded with day spa opportunities and a makeup course that I can't use and don't want to use. But I'm just saying there's a lot of genius now going into this, right, in terms of how this is looking at our tribe that we're connected to, and who's looking at what, and what our friends are interested in, and what they're buying, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, so it allows you to spy on your friends, on your competitors, but it also allows you to find things that you might be interested in. And especially if you've got a circle of friends, and we share like sort of business interest. So there might be maybe a course that you have seen, or that you have liked, or a page that you have liked, and I go, well, if he's checked it out, maybe I'm interested in that too. So I might. Yeah, it's the association. So
well, you were talking about Viagra on our last episode. So who knows what I'm going to see popping up on my screen in the next couple of weeks?
Oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble.
There we go.
I'm really going to watch what I say, don't I?
Okay, so that's a great piece of advice. Other things you might be interested in. Yep. What else have we got?
I think that's pretty much all so I'll just quickly run through the things to include on the services page. So the service description, answer frequently asked questions, include pricing, trust icons, photo gallery, calls to action, contact details, and you may also be interested in. So if you have all of that information packaged up on your services page, you're going to be so far ahead of your competition, because I can guarantee you 99% of people won't have that. They might have maybe two things. They might have the service description, and if you're lucky, the pricing, but they won't have the rest of the information. And if you think about it from a customer's perspective, when I'm looking at that page, if you're providing me that information, I go, yes. And it's just moving people through your page saying, yes, I get this. They get me, and I want to know more. I want to find out more. So you want to keep people scrolling on your website and finding out more information. So those are the things I would include on every service page. And as I said, have a different service page for every service that you offer.
Okay, terrific. Have we got a question today? Frequently
we
asked questions?
Do. So one of the questions, we've got a few seconds.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. So how can I make money from my website? That's a big one. So I'll run through it, and we'll cover this in more detail in the future.
Make a good product.
Yeah. So selling products, and setting up e-commerce on your website, but that's, that can be quite an investment. So selling obviously services, products, programs, online courses, but you'd have to build that into your website. Or if you are selling, for example, online courses, or if you want to sell online courses, there's a lot of portals that are already available that you can just plug into, and then you can link to from your website. So there's one called Teachable, Thinkerific or something like that. I can never pronounce that one. And so they're already built. You just add your content to that and they process your payment. They provide the security. So you can sell courses and services through that, or programs. You can sell other, and this one is what gets me really excited, and that's selling other people's products and services via online affiliate programs. And so what it means and why it gets me excited is because you don't have to do a lot of work other than to sign up and then promote other people's product or service.
Yep.
And so I've actually I've done a whole article on how affiliate marketing works. So we will cover that in the future, but know that you can sell other people's products without you having to carry stock, by simply including simple code on your website, and it tracks the fact that it's come from as a referral from your website. So those things. The other thing too, you can sell advertising on your website, and one of the easiest ways is through something called Google AdSense. And you know how you sometimes, and this is done on a lot of blogs, and you probably would have seen it on a lot of the travel blogs, is that people have ads that show up. Let's say you are reviewing dolphin swims in Hawaii. And so let's say I've written an article and I've added AdSense. And so what it does start showing me is information related to dolphin swimming or buying new swimmers or whatever. So you can actually, it's the flip side of Google AdWords. So as a merchant, I would pay Google to advertise my product. With Google AdSense, it's the flip side. I am the website owner and I advertise other people's products and services. And so again, that's a whole session in itself, but that's another thing that people might want to consider. And as I said, selling advertising, that's quite challenging, because you have to prove to people that your website is a good place to advertise. But if you've got like a directory or something like that, and you might want to offer premium listing, so that's another way of making money.
Good. On the affiliate links, check out the terms and conditions and just make sure you read those properly on any affiliate programs that you get associated with.
Yes, absolutely. And as I said, I'm happy to, we'll talk about that in the future.
We'll have a lawyer on the next show to talk about that, because it'll be a whole show on itself, that one.
And so our downloadable for today is how to create a killer services page. And so we'll just put a link to that so that people, that page goes into more detail, which explains how you can use and all the things to include and what we discussed today.
Okay.
So we'll put that in the show notes. And the homework is write the copy and design layout of your services page.
There we go. So I hope everyone's doing their homework. We're not checking in, but one way we can ask you to show us is actually send us what you've come up with the homework that Ivana is giving you each week when we go through this process, because Ivana's happy to give you feedback and maybe a couple of quick tips as well. So make sure you do your homework, because you won't get the cookie at the end of the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to have a look and offer suggestions.
Fantastic. So I think in the last episode we talked about Canada going into their second wave of lockdown. We talked about plumbers today. So we've got all the Canadian plumbers maybe going to build their websites in the next couple of weeks, Ivana.
I'd be very happy to be working with Canadian plumbers and making a business trip, because I really like to go back to Niagara Falls to go on the boat.
To go on the boat, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's it. We're done for episode 8 in this amazing website series with the amazing Ivana Katz. Ivana, I'm going to ask you, I haven't been doing this in the previous episodes, and it's shame on me, I should be doing it. What can people look forward to in next week's episode? What are we going to be talking about?
Oh, the next episode, we're actually going to be covering the same thing, planning the design and content of your product pages.
Product pages.
So this is as opposed to services. So for some people, the services and product applies. For some people, it's just products. So we'll be looking at that.
There you go. So if you've got a product that's going to change the world and you want to build a website around it, don't forget to tune in for next week's episode, because you'll be able to see how to do it. Ivana, thanks for joining me again today. It's been a thrilling episode as always, and I look forward to being back with you next week to see whether it's been a beauty clinic week or whether it's been a luxury spa week.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark. Good to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we are. The fantastic Ivana Katz talking about designing the content of your services page for your website. And if you're following this series and you haven't checked up on the previous episodes, make sure you get back there and have a look at it. If you know somebody in your network that's about to embark on a new business and they need to build a website, there is no better person to get the advice from than Ivana Katz. She's giving us all the amazing advice on how to build a world-class website for your business or how to refurbish your existing website. So please tell a friend, a family member, or even a work colleague about the show, and we might be able to change someone's life by giving them an amazing website. So we're going to be back again soon with another episode. We're doing these on a weekly basis so that you can rush through and get your website built in no time and have your product or service out there in the marketplace in the best possible fashion. I want to thank you all for joining us on the show today. It's my absolute pleasure bringing these shows to you. I love all the feedback that we get, so keep that coming in as well. And if you haven't already connected with us on social media at Humaneity, please do so, and drop us a comment and let us know what you think about this show. Until next time, my name is Mark Philpott. Stay well, stay safe, and stay healthy, everybody. Until then, bye for now.